Welcome, you curious minds, to another deep dive. Today, we're plunging into the fascinating depths of the Squid Game Season 3 Ending Explained video. It's from the YouTube channel Think Story. Our mission really is to pull out the most compelling bits, the surprising insights, and maybe those burning questions this finale left us all with. We're talking everything from, Guan's ultimate sacrifice, where all that prize money actually went, to the really surprising intro of a major new character. So get ready, because this is where it gets really interesting.
Indeed. And this source, it's less of just a simple recap, isn't it? It's more like a theoretical deep dive. It really pushes us to think about the bigger picture, the unanswered questions in this whole Squid Game universe as it keeps, expanding. What's really compelling here is how the creators are sort of hinting at where things might go next, even while they're wrapping up the current storylines.
Okay, so let's unpack one of the biggest surprises then. This appearance of Cate Blanchett's character. I mean, the credits just list her as a special appearance, right?
Yeah.
But what does the Think Story video dig into about her role? What could it mean?
Yeah, the source really emphasizes how much her character echoes those recruiters we saw back in Korea. Right down to the suit, that distinctive briefcase she carries, and even the game she plays to Dakji, that paper-flipping game. Think Story specifically calls out the identical pattern on her briefcase and even the specific Korean phrases she uses. It mirrors those Season 1 recruiters perfectly. So this points very strongly towards her being part of a much broader international Squid Games setup.
Huh. So when the VIPs in Season 1 were talking about Korea having the best games, they weren't just, bragging about their local setup. They were actually hinting at a whole global network.
Precisely. That's the implication. It suggests multiple tournaments happening all over the world. I mean, that's a huge expansion of the universe we thought we knew. And we see Cate recruiting this down-and-out homeless man, which totally fits the game's MO, right? Preying on people at their absolute lowest.
And Think Story, it connects this to those rumors we've been hearing.
Yeah.
An American spin-off, maybe with David Fincher directing. How does the source piece that together?
Well, the show's creator, Hung Dong-Huk, he did say this is the end for this particular story, the specific narrative arc of Squid Game. But yeah, a new, completely separate story set within the Squid Game universe is rumored, and Fincher's name keeps popping up. Think Story argues that getting Cate Blanchett on board really supports this idea, especially given, she worked with Fincher before on Benjamin Button.
Okay, and there is also that moment, that long, knowing look she gives In-ho. What does the Think Story video speculate about that? What could it imply?
That's a huge question the source raises. Does it mean they have some kind of past connection? Or maybe Eno's been promoted. Could he be in a more global role now? Like running multiple games worldwide. We know he's still with the company, even after the Korean facility went boom. So yeah, some pretty chilling possibilities there.
Right. The idea of a global network is one thing, but having Eno still pulling strings at the heart of it, that's something else. His continued presence just raises more unsettling questions about his motivations this season, doesn't it? What does Think Story tell us about his actions, his inner world?
Oh yeah, the source makes it absolutely clear he's still deeply involved. He's the one who takes Guhan's daughter her father's prize money, and he gets it from the Pink Motel where he apparently used to live. He even arrives in a Squid Game car, and the gift he gives the daughter, it's wrapped in that signature Squid Game black and pink.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of an ironic echo of the coffin colors, right?
It's just wild. A former winner, the 2015 champion, coming back to work for the very games that, turned him into this brutal figure. Think Story really digs into this puzzle. What are some of the main theories it offers for his motivation? Did any really jump out at you?
Well, the core idea from the source isn't just that he lost his humanity. It's more that his return is this kind of perverse attempt at self-justification, like a twisted quest to make his own past actions okay by testing others. One theory is he lost everything in the 2015 games. His wife died, he murdered people, it shattered him. So the games gave him a new, dark purpose because he couldn't go back to his old life.
So the games were like a twisted way to justify what he did by putting others through similar tests. What does the source call that?
Exactly. The source calls it a challenge of ideals. He seems particularly focused on testing Guan, who still holds on to this belief in human goodness. It's like Inyo wants to crush that belief, maybe to make himself feel better about his own past choices.
That clicks, actually, especially when you remember Il-nam tasking Inyo to kill competitors, and then Inyo gives Guan that same choice in the 2024 games. But Guan refuses.
Right. And think how earth-shattering that refusal must be for Inyo. It's really compelling. He probably went into it wanting to break Guan, prove him wrong. But maybe, just maybe, Guan's resistance started to change Inyo himself. We even see him, like, going the extra mile at the end, making sure his brother, the baby, Guan's daughter, they all get compensated. Technically, he didn't have to do that. It really raises the question the source poses. Does he feel trapped? Like being part of the games now is his own form of punishment for what he did.
That adds such a fascinating, tragic layer to him. Okay, let's switch gears to Gran. His journey this season leading up to that incredibly intense final showdown. How does Think's story break down that climax for us?
The source really zooms in on that final confrontation. Guan versus Lee Yonggi, player 333. Apparently he ran a YouTube channel called MG Coin. Anyway, the final game puts Guan, Mongi, that's player 333, and a baby in just an impossible spot. One of them has to die.
And sort of brutal game logic. I mean, horrible thought occurs. Just get rid of the baby, split the cash. But the source digs into a much deeper human conflict there, right? Can you walk us through that?
Absolutely. It's way beyond just strategy. There's this profound moral dilemma. Guan made a promise, remember, to the baby's mother, Yan He, who died earlier in the jump rope game, that he'd keep the baby safe. He feels this deep, almost paternal bond. Mongi, though, he's the actual father. And yet, he's the one threatening to just toss the child off the edge. It's chilling.
So Think's story is arguing that Mongi is basically meant to represent what? Society's ills, pure self-interest. And Guan is the polar opposite.
That's exactly the interpretation the source presents, citing the show's creator. Mongi symbolizes how people can prioritize money, financial gain, even over their own child. Just pure greed. Guan, on the other hand, represents humanity's capacity for, well, selflessness. He's willing to give up his life for something bigger than himself. And his last line, cut off like that. We are not horses, we are humans, and humans are. It really suggests this massive internal shift.
Right, the horse metaphor. A clear jab at how the VIPs see the players and maybe Guan's own gambling past, too. And Think's story really leans into the ambiguity of that final line, doesn't it?
It does, because the episode title itself is just humans are. It leaves it hanging. It basically forces you, the viewer, to decide, are humans mostly greedy like Mongi? Or are they capable of being selfless and generous like Guan and maybe Yan? And then there's that shocking twist the source points out. Yan, that's Guan and the baby, end up being the final two. Why? Because Mongi actually died before the button to start the final game was pressed.
Oh, wow. So his death didn't count towards the game's condition.
Exactly, which meant one of the remaining two still had to die according to the rules.
And that's the moment Guan makes that ultimate defining choice.
That's it. He decides to sacrifice himself to save the child. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, like the source does, Juan started season 1 thinking money was the answer to everything. Now, he's willing to give up his life for a higher purpose. It's such a powerful contrast to his earlier self and, frankly, a huge contrast to Inho's journey, too.
Okay, so beyond the main players, Think's story also gives us some updates, some wrap-ups, or maybe new directions for other characters, too. What did we learn there?
Yeah, the source touches on several key supporting characters. Hung Jun-ho, Inho's brother, he ends up with the baby and the massive prize money, 45.6 billion won, which is what, about 33.5 million US dollars. It's implied he'll raise the baby probably comfortably. His story feels somewhat complete, though. As Think's story notes, it's a bit open-ended whether he'll keep trying to find his brother.
What about Kang Nu, the former amusement park worker who became a guard? Her backstory was just heartbreaking.
It really was. She saved Park Young-suk, remember, the father she befriended inside? Think's story really highlights her tragic past. A North Korean soldier who escaped south had to leave her baby behind. Spent years saving just to find her daughter, only to see that file, that photo of her husband and daughter with the caption, "Husband executed, daughter dead." Just devastating. It drove her to consider suicide, but seeing Guan's sacrifice apparently stops her. But there's a glimmer of hope, right?
Yeah, wasn't there a phone call?
Exactly. 6 months later, she gets a call from Park Min-cho. He's a broker for defectors. Turns out her daughter might not be dead after all. There's a lead, possibly in Yangjing, China. So the last we see of Nu, she's heading off with this renewed hope. It's a really poignant moment, the source emphasizes.
That's great to hear. And King Sai's brother from season 1.
He's reunited with his mother. Finally.
Fantastic.
Yeah, remember Sai joined the game originally to get money to find her mother, who'd been caught defecting. After Sai died, Guan took on that mission, and now we see it paid off. It provides this really powerful sense of closure for that storyline.
That's really satisfying. Even some minor characters get a mention, right?
Yeah.
Cho Wook and Kim Murdon.
Yeah, just a quick wrap up. They end up becoming the owner and head manager of the Pink Motel, A little bit of dark humor there, maybe?
Huh. Okay.
So look, while this particular story of Squid Game, this specific season, might be over, it really feels like just the beginning, doesn't it? It seems like they're setting up a whole bunch of potential new spin-offs that could take us all around the world. And if David Fincher really is involved with an American version, well, Think Story seems to think we're probably in very good hands.
This whole deep dive, it really makes you think, doesn't it? How the Squid Game universe just forces its characters and kind of by extension forces us to face these fundamental questions about human nature. It just strips everything else away.
That's a key insight from the source, really, that the show, it's doing more than just entertaining. It's asking you to grapple with, like, the absolute core of what it means to be human. It's a compelling reflection, even if it's uncomfortable sometimes.
So what does all this mean for you, listening right now? As you think about this season's ending, how does that stark contrast between someone like Guan, who finds this incredible selflessness, and someone like Ino, who's wrestling with this profound loss of humanity? How does that challenge your own understanding of our capacity for good and for evil, especially under extreme pressure? Definitely something to chew on until our next deep dive.